Hey everybody, it's Sam from Wrestling Overtime, and we are here with our Raves and Rants review of WrestleMania 36 Night 2, April the 5th, 2020, with our reactions. First of all, I need to say I am super thankful that the WWE decided to go ahead and go through with WrestleMania 36. I have been missing sports something awful. Now, I know what all of you are going to say. You're going to say, now, Sam, this is not sports. Well, I agree. It has a predetermined finish. However, I will tell you that after watching 2 nights of it, that it is athleticism at its best, and they are truly hitting each other. Now, are they hitting each other as hard as it looks? Maybe not all the time, but it's real hard to fake when in slow-mo they have, somebody's boot hitting you in the face, and you see the indention of the boot actually hitting their face. And then when you see them the next day after they tape this, they have a swollen cheek and makeup covering up a bruise. So I do believe that, there is some hitting going on, and like I said, there is a whole lot of athleticism. Plus, it's entertaining. And that's what I really want and am looking for. I love the storylines of a drama or a comedy series that I'm following along with. I love that it's episodic TV. We get to follow along with storylines. But I like how that it has a little bit of sports in it as far as the athleticism and it being a contest. Yes, the outcome is already determined. But guess what? A lot of times I don't know what the outcome is or how they're going to get to the outcome, and that is why I watch. So, the kickoff show. I learned my lesson from last night, and I had my phone, completely charged up, raring to go, and didn't really pay attention to it. I would look up from my phone. I was listening to a podcast, actually, and not one of my own, don't make any comments, but I was actually listening to a podcast and checking Twitter, and I would look up every once in a while to make sure that they weren't showing a video package. Notice that Corey Graves had a different jacket on tonight. It did not look as good as last night, so it must have been one that he picked out instead of Carmella. However, did see that they were throwing it to the kickoff match. The kickoff match was Natalya versus Liv Morgan. Of course, this had zero storyline, no build. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, at least last night's kickoff match had Drew Gulak and Cesaro, and they had been involved in the storyline of Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. So it made a little sense. However, I have no clue why Natty was in the ring with Liv Morgan. Now, it turned out to be a decent match without having any kind of storyline to it. Natty really controlled Liv like the veteran she is, and how we expected her to. And I was a little shocked. I don't know why after seeing her on Total Divas, but Natty in the ring does talk trash a little more than I expected her to. Liv Morgan, however, does not. And I was expecting with her character that she would be talking trash, and she didn't. But after kind of a change up, Liv Morgan immediately went on the offensive and got the win. And yeah, that kind of makes sense that they're going to try to push Liv Morgan and have the veteran Natty give her a rub, but I really want to see Natty with her own WrestleMania moment. I would love to have had her and Beth Phoenix taking on the Kabuki Warriors for the tag team champions and actually getting the win. I like Bliss, I like Nikki Cross, that's fine, but I just think that Natty making fun of Asuka Bike and Beth Phoenix, with her athleticism, I just think that those two deserve the tag team champions. I think those two deserve their WrestleMania moment. So I can only hope and dream that they'll give them a SummerSlam moment, and Beth Phoenix and Natty can get the tag team championships there. But then the show kicked off. Been telling you guys for, 2 or 3 weeks that, well, since they announced it, that I thought that Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley would be the kickoff match. And so after they run the entrance, and let me tell you, they ran the same exact entrance as they ran last night. I thought that they would come up with something new, hoping that they would come up with something new. But no, they did the same one with the pirate ship and all that garbage. And it's like 5 minutes long. So I went and got something to drink and came down to start taking notes on, the opening match, and was really shocked. It was Charlotte Flair. Her music hit. She came out in a new robe. It was one that she had obviously had made for WrestleMania, and she came out and was her normal queen self. She walked down that ramp exactly like she would have if there would have been a crowd there. She gave us on TV exactly what we would have seen if we were in the audience. She went up the steps, made the referee hold the rope for her, and when she came in, she turned all around for everyone to be able to see her. And I thought, I'm going to write down how crazy that is. Well, then I thought, well, it's not, because she is turning all around, and I am seeing her outfit. I'm seeing the robe and how gorgeous it is, and she is acting like the queen. So I enjoyed that. I thought, this is truly WrestleMania, and Charlotte is giving us what she normally gives us. She wants us to know that she is treating this as WrestleMania. And believe it or not, once I realized that, I, in this match, forgot there wasn't a crowd. I really did, because immediately Rhea Ripley's music hits and she comes out. And let me tell you, it seems like I always forget how intense her eyes and her look is. But then when she comes out, every time I'm just like, wow. She had a different outfit on, though. You can tell that was her WrestleMania outfit, because it was not her normal black. She was in blue and white, and it was a very, very nice outfit. I just hate that, 80,000 people didn't get to see it in an arena. But like I said, they made me forget that, there was supposed to be a crowd there. Because as soon as she got in, she immediately did her normal routine also, throwing up her hand signals and stomping and just being normal Rhea Ripley. I loved how immediately these two started talking. And I really got into that with them. because that truly seems like what both of their characters would do. And for some reason, I think you guys have probably already picked up on it in most of the episodes we've already done. I like heels, and I like the badass heels. And so this heel on heel match, which is really what it was, there was no babyface. I think Vince in his head thought Charlotte was the babyface, but no, I mean, she was trash talking and punishing Rhea Ripley just like normal heel Charlotte does. Rhea Ripley going after Charlotte and challenging her to this match as the champion was a heelish move, and she continued being her heel self. So Rhea telling Charlotte, you better respect me, and this is my ring, was awesome. Charlotte going on the offensive and telling her, you know, I am your queen. I've held the SmackDown titles. I've held the NXT titles. I've held the Raw titles. And I've done it 10 times. I'm here to take your title now. I mean, as she's holding her up against the ring post, choking her, was awesome. I absolutely loved it. Loved it when Rhea took back over and hit the riptide. And I thought, man, this is going to be quick. But Charlotte kicked out. And it seemed to be the catalyst, I guess, for Ripley really getting pissed off. She went on a strong offensive tack right after Charlotte kicked out of her riptide. I think that's the first time that anyone's ever kicked out of the riptide, and was just totally shocked at the fierceness that Ripley showed. I had seen her a little bit in NXT. I had seen more of her independent matches, I think, on YouTube and stuff. So I knew she had that, but I'd never really seen it. Charlotte, I have to give her props. She sold for Rhea Ripley like you wouldn't believe. I don't know that I have seen Charlotte sell like that in a long time. I mean, she really was acting like Ripley was taking it to her. Ripley threw her into the ring rope and went for her big kick. It's almost like Drew McIntyre's Claymore. And Charlotte moved out of the way, and Rhea's leg got caught in the rope. And then this is where Charlotte just went to work. Charlotte said, I can't believe you came into my kingdom and disrespected me. So she went to work on her left knee and had Rhea screaming, yelling, moaning in pain. Charlotte at one point chop blocked her, and they showed it in slow-mo. And I think even though Ripley knew it was coming, it was still a little bit of a shock at how hard Charlotte hit her, because in slow-mo you could actually see Charlotte hitting her knee, and her knee kind of, moving, giving away. And Rhea kind of crumpled, and Charlotte standing above her was saying, I made NXT. Kind of like Seth was, saying that he made NXT. I was thinking, man, we need to get Seth and Charlotte in the ring together. But you could tell that Rhea and Charlotte were working a little stiff, and you could hear real hits sometimes. They were connecting. And like I said, Ripley then began selling her knee, and Charlotte was taking her knee and hitting it up against the ring post like she did in NXT, and she was selling her left knee after every move. So at one point, Rhea pulls herself up and smacks her knee to kind of get the blood going, and telling herself, you've got to pump up. And she ended up kicking Charlotte, and then boom, immediately grabbed her knee afterwards. So she was selling her knee really well, and Rhea got Charlotte into a clover leaf, kind of like a sharpshooter. And somehow Charlotte kind of slid out of it. So Charlotte then twisted around and got Rhea into the Boston Crab. This led to Ripley rolling her up, and then they went back and forth rolling each other up, and Charlotte immediately got up and tried a moonsault. Well, she had taken too long to climb up, and Rhea kicked her in the mouth as she was coming backwards on her moonsault. Well, Charlotte rolled through and was holding her mouth, and as Ripley turned around, Charlotte speared her and got her in the figure four. And this was the third time she had tried to get her in the figure four, but this time actually succeeded and then bridged up to the figure eight. And where she had it on that left knee, Ripley ended up tapping. And so Charlotte won the championship. But I'll tell you what, I thought Rhea Ripley showed a lot, and I mean a lot, of great promise with her fight, her toughness, her selling ability, her talk. She was trash talking the whole entire time, even while selling her knee. So I look for her, like I have said in previous episodes, with her being about 23 years old, for the next 10 years, I look for her to be the dominant heel. And, one person wrote me when I said that a couple episodes ago and said, no, it's going to be Shayna Baszler. Well, no, I want to correct you guys. I want to make sure that everybody out there hears me. No, Rhea Ripley is going to be the dominant heel for the next 10 years. Shayna Baszler is 40 years old. And granted, Chris Jericho's, I think, 47 or 48, and is still doing it. Shayna Baszler is not going to hold a candle to Rhea Ripley in the next 10 years. She's really not. However, I understand why Vince decided to put the title on Charlotte. We talked about it in our prediction shows. That number one, Vince absolutely loves Ric Flair and loves Charlotte. So I'm sure that played a factor. But he believes that Charlotte sells tickets. She puts butts in seats. And he hopes that equates to putting eyeballs on TV. And so with Charlotte being NXT's champion, he is hoping to be able to get some eyeballs on the TV on Wednesday nights and beat AEW. I don't think they're going to. Cody and the boys are right now just too good. I will continue watching NXT on DVR. So, even though this was a great match, you guys definitely need to make sure that you watch this match. It is worth your time. Don't just watch the highlights. Actually watch the match. It is worth your time. But it's still not going to be enough for me to tune into NXT over AEW. Then we got the match that I've been griping about, Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley. Aleister Black shocked me. Obviously, He was getting ready for WrestleMania. He came out with his normal entrance. However, when he popped up, he had on a hooded robe that had horns on the shoulder. They were devil horns, and he was wearing the hood over, kind of his face. And as he popped up and pulled that off, you could see intensity radiating off him. Was a little shocked that WWE did their graphic, their 3D hologram graphic thing, as his pyramid with the corners spinning, which is the Illuminati symbol. And I know that he has a lot of Illuminati, a lot of people say satanic symbols tattooed on his body, but just a little shocked that WWE showed him in that way. I wasn't sure that they would do that, but it is a pay-per-view, so that was great. Of course, he sat down in the ring, and then we had Bobby Lashley come out. He was wearing pants. That threw me off. Everybody on Twitter immediately noticed, oh, he's wearing pants. Lana came out. Was expecting Lana to be dressed to the nines. She really wasn't. She was dressed in a normal red dress. It was not WrestleMania worthy. I even wonder if she knew that she was going to be on WrestleMania or doubted it. A lot of people doubted whether Bobby Lashley would get to come with him having the South African tour for WWE in order to promote WrestleMania, whether he was going to come out of quarantine in enough time. He did. But as soon as Aleister Black took off his robe, I thought, oh, I hope this is short, because there is no storyline to this match. This is ridiculous. I don't even know why we're looking at it. Lashley came out and wanted to show a bunch of power in the beginning. Basically chopping, hitting, kicking Aleister Black, and they showed the size differential a lot by the camera angles that they used. What I guess I was surprised at was how quiet it was. There was no trash talking. I expected that from Aleister Black. You never really see him trash talk in the ring. But I did expect Bobby Lashley to a little bit, and I definitely expected Lana to. But no, it was pretty much up to the commentators to sell this match, and it just didn't happen. Corey Graves is fast becoming my favorite commentator, and we really missed him this weekend. He brings life to commentating, as does Jerry Lawler. And with both of them being gone, there was no one there to kind of create excitement in a match. Bobby Lashley ran this whole match. He, like I said, just threw Aleister Black around, stomped him, speared him, everything. Kicked him, picked him up, just was ruling it. He actually picks up Aleister Black and has him on his shoulders, and Lana jumps up on the apron, and Bobby Lashley looks at her like she's nuts, and the referee, I think, was going to go over there, and it was going to be kind of a distraction type thing. And I thought, well, how stupid is this going to be? And Lana says, spear him. put him down and spear him. So, Bobby Lashley does. He drops Aleister Black on the mat, goes over in the corner, waits for Aleister Black to get up, and runs at him to spear him, and Black hits him out of nowhere with the black mask and drops Bobby Lashley like that for the win. And Bobby Lashley is trying to figure out where he is as he looks at Lana like, yeah, you did this to me. You cost me this. And typical Aleister Black just walks up the ramp. Good ending. Bad match. Like I said, no storyline, nothing. It was, Aleister Black take a beating, hit the black mask, walk away. And so, just didn't do anything for me. So it was a big downer after, the Charlotte Rhea Ripley match. Then we get a Kayla interviewing Bayley and Sasha Banks. And as soon as Kayla holds up the mic, Bayley starts immediately going on about how unfair this match is. And I thought she was going to throw Paige's name around, but she didn't. As soon as she takes a breath, however, Kayla immediately asks her, what if it comes down to you and Sasha? Are you going to be able to beat Banks? And Bayley says, Kayla, you're nothing but a sheep. Believe in all the masses. This interview is over. And turns to walk away, and Banks turns to follow her, and Kayla says, hey, Sasha, can you wait a minute? And Sasha turns, around, and she says, you have been a champion in NXT, you've been a champion here, there, and yonder, and what about winning another championship? And she doesn't ask her anything about beating Bayley, but Sasha Banks answers, we'll just have to wait and see. And I was like, oh, okay. They're going to kind of, tease this. So then we see Charlie with Gronk. And Charlie says something about it being, a great WrestleMania. And Gronk is his normal jacked up self and says that he wants the 24/7 championship. Well, okay, we all know you're going to get it, Gronk. It's fine. They did not have to throw to you. And Kayla, this is ridiculous. He's wearing the same outfit he wore last night, and it is a pretend excitement. And the more and more Gronk talks, the more and more I don't want him around. Just the thought that he's been signed to WWE, has no wrestling experience, and isn't really making an effort to get any wrestling experience, but wants the 24/7 championship and is all excited about trying to get it. Just, I don't know, something about that irks me. So I was just like, whatever. Then they go into what I wish they would have postponed. I really, really wish that this particular story would have happened tomorrow night on Raw. I wanted somehow it to be canceled or postponed or something, and I wanted it to be in front of a crowd. So I misspoke when I said tomorrow night in Raw, because They're not going to have a crowd there either. But I wish they could have drawn this out somehow. I wish they could have postponed it because Tucker is hurt and not had this right now. But we see Dolph Ziggler come out, and almost immediately after him, we see Sonya Deville come out with him. And then we see Otis. And he comes out to Heavy Machinery's music, and my first thought was, where's Tucker? I knew that he had gotten hurt by, Dolph doing the zigzag on the steel steps, but I thought he would come out bandaged up or something like that. And I wish they would have used that as the postponement. The fact that Otis couldn't leave his side or something. I don't know. But I kind of waited. I thought, well, Mandy's going to follow him out. No. Otis comes out alone, and he immediately gets into the ring. The bell rings, and he starts off fast and furious and strong, nailing Dolph. You can see his emotion. Then, as he backs away, Dolph hits a super kick and runs him into the steel post of the ring post and kind of takes back over. Calls him a fat slob and is talking to him a little bit. And as soon as he brings up Mandy, though, Otis just basically starts taking over and destroying Dolph with his power, and flattens him. Otis starts to do his typical belly shaking and then goes down to do the caterpillar. As Sonya jumps up on the apron. And I was like, really? I know that they revealed that Sonya and Dolph are working together, but I never dreamed they would work together like this. But Otis immediately stops because the referee yells at Sonya, and he goes over kind of near Sonya to talk to her, and Dolph gets up and hits Otis with a low blow. And the referee, of course, doesn't see it because of the distraction. Well, Dolph is getting ready to pin Otis, and we hear Mandy Rose's music hit. Mandy comes out wearing a gold, almost nude collar outfit, and immediately goes towards the ring. Sonya steps in front of her and tries to talk to her, and she slaps the crap out of Sonya and then jumps on her and starts beating on her. Well, this, of course, gets Dolph's attention, and Mandy gets up and gets in the ring as Dolph is asking, "What are you doing?" And Mandy drops down to her knee and low blows Dolph. Well, this allows Otis to do his caterpillar and pin Dolph for the win. The problem that I have, Mandy actually got in the ring and interfered. Why didn't the ref disqualify? Why didn't he stop the match? I guess that would have ruined the story, huh? But anyway, Otis wins, and Mandy gives him a hug, and Otis picks her up, and yes, he gets the kiss. and they go out of the ring together, and at the beginning of the ramp, Otis picks her up again and carries her up the ramp. And everybody got their ending, but the crowd wasn't there to go wild. I wanted the crowd to go wild. And so I guess I hate to guess, because you never know with Vince, but I'm going to guess now this makes Mandy Rose a babyface and Sonya Deville an evil heel, I hope, because I have been hollering that Sonya Deville needs to be a heel. She has that personality. So then we see the video package of Edge and Randy Orton. And it shows them from when they were young, and they came up with Edge being a part of the tag team with Christian, and him becoming Rated R, and running around with Randy, and all of that. And we get to the last man standing match. Of course, they go over the rules that they only have a winner when someone cannot answer a 10 count. So Edge comes out. We hear his music. He gets in the ring. He immediately starts looking for Randy as Randy's Voices in My Head music hits. No Randy. We get through basically the first sentence of the song, no Randy. Then we see a figure in black that has a hood up, black pants, black jacket, come up behind Edge and hit an RKO on him. And the hooded figure takes off the hood, and it's Randy Orton. And I'm immediately thinking, Edge has been in this business for billions of years. He never once looked around. He never once turned around. Come on. Well, then they show us Orton doing another RKO on him, and the ref asking him if he can stand up, because he says the match hasn't even began yet, and you need to stand up in order for it to begin. Edge pulls himself up by the ring ropes, and they show a replay, and Randy Orton was actually posing as a cameraman. He put his camera down, and that's why he was dressed all in black. He pulls, of course, off the pants, and he is in his ring attire. And the match officially begins as Edge stands up. Randy immediately just starts going to work on Edge. Now, I'm not going to describe every little thing and everywhere they went. It would take forever. Let's just say they start off actually in the ring. Randy hit him with the camera that he was holding. He hit him with the ring barriers. He flipped him over. They went over to the Performance Center gym. At one point, Randy basically tied Edge up in some gym ropes and wrapped them around his throat, which, like everybody on Twitter, I think said, not really a good move. WWE probably should have cut that out and edited that part, because they just showed the Chris Benoit documentary, and obviously that is how Chris Benoit committed suicide, was by wrapping some gym ropes around his neck and hanging himself. Not a good look. but Randy goes to pick something else up. I believe it was a weight, and Edge reached up and grabbed the steel beam and swung himself over and kicked Randy, and Randy dropped the weight on him. Um, Edge took over and used like a pull-up bar to swing and kick Randy. They at one point Randy put Edge into a wall and tried to push a sled against him, and Edge got out of the way. They fought down a hallway. They ended up taking out a cameraman. I'm not sure whether that was planned or whether it was an accident and WWE kind of just went with it. Because they took out the cameraman, the camera actually kind of falls sideways, and we see Edge and Randy going down the hallway, basically beating each other. And they turn the corner, and for a minute we lose them, and you see another cameraman running to catch up. They go out in a storage facility, or a storage room, I guess, that of course has ladders. They use the ladders. They use different things that are around the performance center. They at one point again go down a hallway towards some offices. Somehow they lose the cameraman again, and we see a different cameraman coming down a different hallway to catch up with them. They end up, I guess, in the performance center garage, because there is a pickup truck there and there's a semi near it. They ended up with Randy doing his draping DDT that he usually does off the ring ropes. He did it off the top of the truck into the bed that had a cover on it, a steel cover, and dropped Edge. This match became really long, almost too long. The commentary on it was monotone, extremely boring. They did not get excited about anything. At one point, they end up in a conference room with the world's largest conference table. And Edge lays Randy Orton out. He picks himself up by the ceiling, because it's an open type ceiling, and hangs from the ceiling joist kind of, and slams down with an elbow on Randy on the conference room board table. Like I said, they end up in a garage. Randy does the draping DDT. He jumps down and is going to get something, and Edge climbs up on the semi-truck. At no point did the commentary get excited. And I was just like, the commentary is horrible. How are you not getting excited about this? We can hear both men moaning, they're groaning, they're out of breath. Randy makes his way up on top of the semi, and when he gets up there, Edge spears him, and starts beating on him. Edge goes to walk, and I'm gonna make the assumption maybe he was gonna do another spear or whatever. Randy catches him and RKO's him on top of the semi. He ends up then climbing down off the semi, which allowed Edge, of course, to catch his breath, get up, and Randy brings up chairs And I had been waiting for the chairs because they had been, I don't know, such a fixture in this match. And he starts hitting Edge, and he puts one down, and it's obvious he's going to get him in place and hit him with the concerto again. And as he picks up the chair to go to hit Edge, Edge grabs him, spins him around, and gets him in a sleeper. It's the same type of sleeper that he got MVP in and put him down. We see Randy really fighting it, but we also hear him. He is totally out of breath, and this is taking the wind out of him. And Edge ends up putting Randy to sleep. The ref gets to, I guess, the count of about 7, and they show Edge's face, and he looks like he's about ready to cry, looking down at Randy. On, I think it was count 8 or 9, he stops the ref and tells him to stop counting. He gets down beside of Randy Orton, and it's almost like he was going to hug him. He says something to him, and we can't hear what he has to say, but he puts a chair under Randy Orton's head and picks up the other chair, and of course hits him with the concerto, the exact move that Randy hit him with. And Randy obviously then can't make the 10 count, and Edge wins. They show Edge's relief and then almost immediately cut away. There's not really any commentary. Edge doesn't say anything. Nothing. I think that was the biggest shock. There was no excitement. I know Edge was tired, but I thought he would say something. They would show Edge getting down off the semi-truck, leaving Randy up there, or something. I don't know. I was kind of hoping Beth Phoenix would get involved. She did not. It was no disqualification. So I don't see why Beth Phoenix didn't get involved. I was hoping they'd show Edge coming down off the semi-truck and her at least running to hug him. No, they cut away and basically just went away from it. And the next thing, we see is Mojo Rawley running and a bunch of guys chasing him. And these guys catch him. And they're, beating on him. And we see Gronk up on his hosting platform looking down. And he climbs over the edge and leaps off and takes out everybody, all the guys and Mojo and everybody, and then finds Mojo in the mess and pins him. So Gronk wins the 24/7 championship, takes the belt, and runs away. And he goes through the doors, and it's like, see ya! And I was like, oh, okay. We've got some more matches here, or I think we do. And we do, because Austin Theory comes out, and then we see, of course, Garza come out with Selena Vega, and then the Street Profits come out, and it's for the Tag Team Championship. I thought Theory and Garza started off really strong. They started off fast. I was really shocked at how well they moved together. They did, I believe it was 2 different double team moves. So they work well together, and as far as I know, Austin Theory hasn't worked with Angel Garza before. I mean, I guess I should look that up. But I know that they haven't worked together in NXT, but I don't know about the indie circuit or anything. Austin Theory is going to be awesome. He's 22 years old. He reminds me of MJF in AEW. He's going to be a awesome cocky heel, but I had been liking Garza, but him pulling off his pants and yelling WrestleMania and just acting stupid in this match really turned me off of him. I don't know that I'm a big fan of his now. Garza ended up missing a move by Dawkins ducking, and it allowed Dawkins to run over and tag Ford in, and Ford hit a DDT on Garza. Theory ended up getting in the ring and breaking up the pin. But then Dawkins jumped in and knocked Theory out of the ring. So Dawkins and Theory are fighting, and Ford ended up diving on both Theory and Dawkins. And I thought it was really weird that he took his own guy out. But then Garza basically hit a backwards flip on Ford and then threw Ford into the ring, and he climbed up to do his moonsault. And Theory ends up getting Dawkins in what to me looked like an AA. I'm sure he calls it something else. I'm sure he's not going to call it an AA like John Cena, but I thought he was going to go for the pin, and he does. With Dawkins, Dawkins is gone, and Ford ends up hitting a frog splash as the legal man to break Theory's pin up, and he rolls out of the ring, and Dawkins rolls over and throws an arm over Theory for the win. So Garza ends up beating on Ford, and Theory ends up beating on Dawkins, and they both grab Ford, and Vega comes over, and I thought she was going to slap him, but she actually ends up kicking Ford in the face. And basically, as she turns around, I'm not sure whether she was getting ready to do something else or not, we hear Bianca Belair's music hit. She comes running out and spears Vega, and then picks her up and does the kiss of death on her. Now, where were Theory and Garza? Why didn't they stop this? But anyway, Vega's left in a heap as Bianca Belair is shaking her hair, and the Street Profits get back up in the ring with her to dance and celebrate that they've kept their championships, and that Bianca has speared, Vega. And I was like, what is up with this? Does Vega have a history with her, or does Belair have a history with the Street Profits? I wasn't real sure. But as they're celebrating, we then see Titus O'Neil. Titus has came out of Titus Catering. He is up on the platform and says that since Gronk has left the building with his 24/7 championship, someone has to take over the hosting, and it might as well be him. So he says on to our next match, and we get the Fatal 5-Way match with Sasha Banks, Lacey Evans, Tamina, Naomi, and Bayley. And they talk about how Bayley has held the championship for 175 days. And then they talk about the rules for the match. I just assumed it was whoever pinned, because they kept saying there's no champion's advantage. I assumed it was whoever pinned whoever won the championship. But then they go over the rules, and no, it's an actual elimination match. So everyone has to be eliminated, and last one, standing is the champion. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. And maybe you guys did, but I didn't. I didn't have a clue. And didn't realize that there were no disqualifications, that it's only pinfalls and submissions. So basically, as soon as the bell rings, Bayley and Sasha jump on Tamina, and she throws them away, and then Naomi and Lacey jump on Tamina, and she throws them away, and then basically everybody gets on Tamina, and Tamina's eliminated first, and then Naomi's eliminated soon thereafter, so that we can kind of get to the real match. And if that's the match they wanted, with them being eliminated so quickly, why didn't they just schedule a triple threat? Because that's what it was. It was Bayley and Sasha versus Lacey Evans, basically. Bayley and Sasha ended up starting to double team Lacey, getting the best of her. Sasha throws Lacey into a corner, hits her, and as Bayley goes to hit Lacey, she hits Sasha, knocking Sasha out of the ring, and then Bayley hauls off and hits Lacey and immediately tries to pin her. Sasha comes in and is like, what was that? Why did you do that? Well, Lacey hits Bayley and then hits Sasha with a women's right, drops down and pins Sasha Banks as Bayley looks on across the ring. She makes no move to stop that pin. None. You can see her, she's laying there and she's looking up, she's on her elbow, and she makes no move. So Sasha Banks is eliminated. So it's just Lacey and Bayley. And they take it to each other, each getting offense and everything. And final last, Sasha Banks comes back out, and since there's no disqualification, hits the backstabber, and Bayley ends up pinning Lacey Evans to keep her championship. Well, everybody, I think, in the building, including me, thought, well, this is the time. Sasha's gonna turn on her. She didn't. She hugged her friend. She congratulated her. They ended up basically getting ready to walk out of the ring together. Sasha rolls under the ring ropes and goes towards the ramp as Bayley stays in the ring and celebrates. She climbs up on the ring post in one corner and shows her belt as we see Sasha looking on. So they are teasing that Sasha may turn, but she didn't. They ended up, going off into the wild blue yonder together. So then we get to the Firefly Funhouse. And I know this is what you've been waiting on. I know we're at the hour mark, and this is the 7th match. We've got the Firefly Funhouse, and then Brock versus Drew. I am going to try to describe the Firefly Funhouse to you as best I can. This, again, is something you need to see. It was very weird. It was very different. Notice I'm not calling it a match. It was not a match. It was the movie cinematic experience that it was rumored to be, but it was nothing like last night's Undertaker AJ match. Nothing. You guys heard on the episode last night how much I absolutely loved the Undertaker AJ match. I watched it again today. I will probably watch it again later this week. The Firefly Funhouse was different. We see John Cena's music hit. He comes out to the ring. He is dressed in normal attire. Has his hat, his towel, everything. And then we see the Firefly Funhouse logo pop up. And we see Bray Wyatt in the Firefly Funhouse room that we have seen now for months. And he tells Cena that he needs to come into the Funhouse. And so we see Cena get out of the ring, and we see, as he is leaving, we see Bray go through the door that we normally see. We see John Cena then pop into the Funhouse. Ramblin' Rabbit is there, and he tells John Cena, Bray went that way. And Cena gives him a look like, I don't know whether I believe you or not. And he's like, no, he went that way. And so Cena goes through the door. Well, we immediately see a flash of Kurt Angle. And then we see Bray standing in the ring. And then we see Kurt Angle. And we see Bray. And Kurt Angle is dressed how he was in 2002. And what they're doing is showing a flashback film of John Cena's first match that he took on Kurt Angle in 2002. John Cena appears, and they show a flashback of John Cena in 2002. And then we see John Cena now, and he is in the same outfit that he wore to the ring in his very first match. And Bray says the words that Kurt Angle says about how it being an open challenge, and John Cena comes out. Cena gets in the ring and stands. And the whole entire time, they're going flashback from old Cena and Kurt to today's Cena and Bray. And Bray says, what are you doing here? Like Kurt does. And Cena hauls off and swings at him, but Bray ducks. Cena again says ruthless aggression like he did in his first match and swings at him, and Bray ducks. And we see Devil Vince and Mercy on commentary. And Devil Vince had told John Cena, hey, you better go out there and show me what you got. You better go out there and win, or you're going to get fired. I'm going to fire you. So we see, John Cena playing that through his head, and Bray makes a comment about this being John Cena's failure, and talking about his failures. And he even makes a comment about Nikki Bella by saying, you can look but you can't touch. Well, then we flash to Saturday night's main event that was still happening at that time. And it is the 80s, the late 80s set, almost early 90s. And Bray Wyatt is dressed as Hulk Hogan. And Bray talks about pumping iron and eating your vitamins, and we see John Cena come out, and he has dumbbells and is talking about getting bigger, and we see his veins in his arms bulging, and he's continuing to pump, and basically continues pumping iron until he can't anymore, and the weights drop from his hands, and he can't even lift his arms, really. And he tries to swing his arms at Bray, and he can't lift them to get them up. And then he morphs in to Dr. Thugonomics. And he comes out wearing, his Yankees jersey and hat and all that, backwards with his outfit on. And Bray is standing there. He's got his rings on and all of that. And John Cena goes to say something, and of course he's rhyming. And it's not very good. And he says, "Oh, I see what you're having me do is I have to rhyme." And Bray gives him a look and says some stuff, and then Cena says, "I can do this," and he raps. And the first line, of course, is, again, not very good. And then he starts rapping about chances and taking chances and all of that. Bray Wyatt kind of cuts him off and says, you, John Cena, are talking about getting chances. Let me tell you about chances." And it kind of flashes through Bray's different chances. And then he tells Cena about how he has always been the golden boy, and how he has never had to do things that he didn't want to do, and how his life has, basically been handed to him. And what has it gotten him? Now he is basically just a lonely old man. And says that, he doesn't truly have anything. And he tells Cena he has one more chance. So Cena raps again and goes to hit Bray, and Bray's not there. Bray Wyatt then turns into the old Bray Wyatt that ran the Wyatt family. is dressed like he did when he came to the ring as the leader of the Wyatt family. Shows him rocking in the chairs. Talks about how he said Sister Abigail always said this moment would come. He's wearing his hat. And he says it's time to right a wrong from WrestleMania 30. And he gets down in the position that he got in WrestleMania 30, where he was standing on his knees, and Cena, he asked Cena to hit him, like he did. And he tells Cena that he made the wrong choice, and he has to fix it. So Cena takes a swing at him. Bray and Cena then jump into another scene, and Bray is wearing a black leather jacket and becomes Eric Bischoff. And we see scenes from WCW Nitro and Eric Bischoff, and then it flashes back to Bray Wyatt, and how there needs to be a third member, and he welcomes him out, and John Cena comes out in an NWO shirt. And he slides into the ring and grabs Bray and starts beating on him. As he is doing that, John Cena is remembering how people beat him before. And it goes through Cena's career. And he kind of stops as he realizes he's not hitting Bray Wyatt. He's actually hitting Husky the Pig. So he stops and stands up, kind of, and the Fiend is behind him. The Fiend gets the mandible claw on him. And as he's holding him in the mandible claw, the Fiend turns into Bray. And the Bray has John Cena in the mandible claw. And then he turns back into the Fiend. And the Fiend drops John Cena. And the Fiend looks straight ahead. And we see John Cena disappear. Then the Fiend looks into the camera and says, "Let me in." And the screen goes black. Then it immediately flashes to Titus O'Neil on the platform, and he says, "I don't know what I just saw." And then they go immediately into showing the start of the video package of Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar. So the Firefly Funhouse match was not a match. The only wrestling move that was done was the mandible claw. John Cena didn't tap. He didn't get pinned. There wasn't even ever a referee in the picture whatsoever. The only time they were actually in the room of the Firefly Funhouse that we've seen is when Bray did the opening, and then John Cena went in there and Ramblin' Rabbit told him to go through the door. I've seen people say that this was John Cena remembering his career and Bray Wyatt remembering his career and the comparisons between the two. And that's what the mini movie was about. I don't know. I've also seen how it is Bray taking John Cena through his career and showing him how wrong he was and leading him up to telling him the choices he made were wrong, and then showing him what they could have been. And when we see John Cena again, then he will be a heel and will be with Bray Wyatt / The Fiend and will be making different choices. That makes a little bit of sense. I've seen people say that they hated it because it wasn't a match. They didn't understand it. I have seen people say they loved it. And they saw a lot of symbolism in it. And that's what I was telling you as far as John Cena going through his career. I've saw a lot of hopes and dreams as far as people have always wanted John Cena to turn heel. John Cena has admitted that he wants to be good for his whole entire career, but he has always wondered what being a heel would be like, especially after him getting to play a heel in the movies and getting to be bad. He has since, especially that, has wondered what it would be like to be a heel in wrestling. However, he has never said that he will never be a heel. So I can see him doing that. I'm going to tell you, I don't know. I know that I probably need to watch it again. I'm hoping that Monday Night Raw may give us some answers, or SmackDown, or they'll do an interview, or they'll do something on the WWE Network, or something to kind of answer those questions and us get it. But all I know is right now, John Cena disappeared. And we don't know where he's at. And he, like AJ, we don't know when or if they'll return. We left AJ buried last night. And we don't know if he's dead. And tonight, John Cena disappeared. So, all I got to tell you is I don't know. I know that a lot of you are probably going to tweet me or write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com and say, did you like it? Well, I'm going to give you this answer. I don't know. I don't really know what I saw. What I saw, I liked. I liked going through the different sequences. However, I feel like it got stopped in the middle. I feel like I'm in the middle of a story and I want to pick it up and finish reading it, right? I'm in the middle of a movie and I want to finish watching it and I can't. I've got to wait until next week, or I got to wait till next month or whatever to get my ending. So I don't know whether I like it or not. But let's get to our last match. Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar, who came out with, of course, Paul Heyman. Now, Immediately as soon as they ring the bell, Brock goes after him and attacks him. As soon as he gets a little bit of distance, however, Drew McIntyre claymores Brock Lesnar, and I thought, really? They're going to beat Braun's Tom last night? Well, no, because Brock kicks out of the pin. First time anyone has kicked out of the Claymore, and it was Brock. And Drew looks frustrated, looks confused, looks like, well, what happened there? Well, immediately Brock starts grabbing him and German suplexing him. Then he hits an F5. Drew kicks out on the 1 count. So Brock just immediately picks him up and F5s him again. Drew kicks out on the 1 count. So Brock then picks him up, F5s him again, and Drew kicks out on the 2 count. And you can see that Brock is very frustrated and he is furious. His face is blood red. Paul Heyman yells, Brock, Brock, and Brock looks over at him and he says, you can continue this all night long. He cannot continue to kick out. So Brock immediately picks Drew up and gets him ready to pick it up for another F5. But Drew slides off his shoulders and down his back, and Brock goes to turn around as Drew has backed up, and he claymores him. He backs up, and as Brock gets up, he claymores him. And then as Brock is on one knee and looks a little out of it, Drew claymores him again for the 3rd time, and Brock falls over, and Drew pins Brock Lesnar for the championship. Brock sold this extremely well. I will give him credit. When Brock thinks he should lose, he sells, he makes him look good. He put Drew over tonight. He really, really did. He made him look good because of the way he was staggering, and he continued to lay in the ring. They gave Drew the belt, and Drew celebrated. He even climbed up on one of the ring posts and held the belt. He looked like he couldn't believe it, and Brock was still laying in the middle of the ring with the spotlight on him. So, like I said, Brock sold it, and the show went off the air. Do I think tonight was as good as last night? No. Do I think last night was great? No. After, going back through my notes, thinking about it, last night, and I thought it was very good under the circumstances and with no crowd. Tonight, I thought was average, but it was good because there was no crowd and dealing with what we were dealing with, the pandemic. I can honestly say the Charlotte Flair and Ripley match you want to watch all the way through. You definitely want to see the highlights of Randy Orton and Edge. Like I said, it is very long and it drags a little bit. It's too long. But the highlights, if they hit all of the spectacular moves, that will give you a great match. It needed edited some, and they had the opportunity to do that. The Firefly Funhouse, you need to watch to be confused as I am. And like I said, it was good, but I feel like I'm in the middle of something and I'm waiting for the ending to come out so I can finish watching. The Drew Brock match was what we wanted it to be. I think most of the WWE universe wanted to see Drew win, him become the full-time champion, and him to get the credit. So, yes, it was good. I liked WrestleMania 36. I'm great with it. Like I said, it was something that we needed during this time of the pandemic. I'm glad they did not cancel it. However, I think it could have been a lot better, booking-wise, build-up-wise, storyline-wise, and I think the matches could have been put together better. Do I think this could have been done in one night? No. 16 matches, actually 18 matches, is too much. For one, I enjoyed the 2-night. I hope WWE in the future does 2-night WrestleManias. I would be all for that. I liked the cinematic thing. I just know they taped everything, so why didn't they edit it better? If these matches would have been showed live, I would have been disappointed. There were some botches. Like I said, there were some stuff that drug on way too long. Matches that should have been over way faster than what they would have. And I think if they were live in front of an audience would have gotten bored, and they would have had to have been quicker matches. You know, the Black Lashley match, I think it would have had to have been quicker. You know, definitely. I think there were a lot of matches on here that should have either been canceled or should have been quicker. The Otis and Dolph match, I wish they could have done in front of a crowd. And I wish they could have gotten Drew McIntyre his first championship in front of a crowd. I really do. But like I said, it was pretty good. I'm looking forward to Raw tomorrow night. They have taped the after WrestleMania Raw already, and so it should follow along with some storylines. Hopefully there's some closure in this WrestleMania. We find out, what closure we get, and usually the after WrestleMania Raw, we see some surprises. We see some people brought up, or we see some people introduced, or we see the start of new programs. Not sure whether they're going to do that. Where they tape is in Florida, and they now have a travel ban. Or stay-at-home ban, I should say. So they're not allowed to tape. I don't know whether they have any more taped. From what I understand, SmackDown was not taped. So is tomorrow night going to be the last show that we see for a while? I don't know. Do they find somewhere else to tape? That's the rumor. The rumor is they are going to be at undisclosed locations, and they are going to try to sneak around and film some things. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. But wherever we go from here, you will have me tagging along with you. And thank you for listening to this and putting up with me this weekend. Hopefully I will have a news and updates episode for you tomorrow before Raw, and I hopefully will be hearing from you soon with the After Raw results quick show, and then our Raves and Rants review tomorrow night with Raw, and hopefully I'll have some answers for you then. But I want to thank you guys for listening, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, problems with this, please write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com or hit me up on Wrestling Overtime's Twitter or Facebook page. I look forward to hearing from you guys about this. Tell me, did you like WrestleMania? Did you like the Firefly Funhouse? What do you think it is? And I will be talking to you soon.